Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Hopefully you've got your math hats on. We're going to be doing some stereo stuff in the Deedle, and we're going to use some numbers. Scary stuff. Let's get into it. Wait. You understand that the math hat thing, that was just like metaphorical, right? It's just a joke. We're not actually going to have a hat for math. All right, let's go. Alright, so what we've got today, I kind of blew up the 12 that's in the back of the Deedle. It's just a little 12 with a little amp. It worked, but it wasn't amazing. I've gone through the rest of the stereo. We've got a new head unit. We're running 6.5-inch PA speakers up front, 8-inch PA speakers in the back, all CT Sounds brands. Not that that matters, I'm not sponsored by anybody. And a Kenwood head unit. Decent system, you know, it sounded good. The 12 decided to let go on me the other day though. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull out that old stuff, and I've got some new stuff we're gonna need to build a box for. But we've got to use a little bit of math, measure out the back of the area of the car. I still want to be able to access the spare tire well, so the box needs to fit, you know, in that space on the sides and be able to rock forward just in case we have a flat tire. Let's get the old stuff pulled out so we can start measuring and figure out how big the new box needs to be. Alright, here's the 12. Little Kenwood Exelon in a prefab box. Nothing great. We need to go ahead and unplug the RCA wires. Get them out of the way. Got a little noise filter that we'll probably end up reusing again. And we need to get a screwdriver and unplug the power, the ground, the remote, and I suppose we can just leave the wires going to the amp because that's just all coming out right now. So 3 attachments we'll need to pull out. Now it is recommended that you disconnect the battery cable from the car before you start working on anything electronic. That way you never have a short. What I like to do also is you remove the remote connection. I'll take a piece of electrical tape and I'll fumble with it. Doesn't take a lot. And just kind of put it over the end, so should you decide to turn the stereo on later, the remote wire isn't going to short out on anything. And I'll do the same thing with the ground and the positive leads, just to make sure we're safe. There we are, all taped up, nothing's going to ground out and short anything. And we can go ahead and pull this dude out of the car. Now that we've got the old amp and sub out of the car, what we need to do is, down into here is where our spare tire lies. Should we need to access that, we need to be able to lean the seat forward and rock the sub box out of the way also. So we need to know how much distance we're working with, and then we can decide on our box build from there. There's a slight arc here that shouldn't be that big of a deal. If we need to, we can kind of bump the box up and over. It's the main width between the sides that we need to worry about, and then we've got this top piece that kind of comes in on our space that we also need to be leery of. We are working with a max width of, say, 38 inches to be safe. We really don't want the base to be any deeper than, we'll say, 22. Height-wise, we can go up to, say, 16 total. And if we wanted to stay in between the plastic completely, we're working with a width of no more than 34, and that would be a little bit on the tight side. But 34 should work. So 34, 22, we'll say 17. And our top depth, we'll say around 11. If we don't go any taller or deeper on the top than 11, we should be fine. Alright, so when we were measuring, the width of the box needs to be no more than 34 inches wide. The base needs to be no more than 22 inches. This top here needs to be no more than 11 inches, and we can have a height of 17 inches. And this right here is also a triangle vertical line here. I measured this right here, can be no more than 7 inches to give us the right angle with the back of the seat. Let's do some math and figure out what our max air volume of the box is, and then we'll know exactly what we're working with. Alright, so we do some quick math, and we basically come out to around 5.5 cubic feet is our max volume on this particular box. That's the space we've got to work with. We'll have to open the boxes, look at the subs, see what they require. As long as we don't need more than 5.5 cubic feet for those subs to be happy, we're good. Let's take a look at what we've got. So what we're working with here is a Zeus ZX 3200.10 mono amplifier and 2 Rockville W12K9D4 subs. Dual voice coil, 4 ohms apiece, lots of power, can take lots of power. So, quick internet search yielded a result that the speakers want somewhere between 0.9 and 1.47 cubic feet. That's per sub, so if we're doubling that, basically we need to be somewhere between 2 to 3 cubic feet in a shape that is similar to what we've got maxed out here. Obviously, with this size, our max volume is 5.5 cubic feet. We only need to be somewhere between 2 and 3, so we've got plenty of space to work with. We just need to play with the numbers, kind of downsize it so that it fits in the space we've got. We just need to shrink the numbers down until we end up with somewhere between 2 and 3 cubic feet, and then run to the hardware store and start building a box. Let's play with a little bit of numbers here. 2.59 cubic feet. So those are the numbers I like. It's just over 2.5 cubic feet. We could sit here and finesse it just a little bit more, but I like that. That sounds good. Now let's draw everything out. Make sure our measurements are going to work. Make sure we're not making the face too small for the subs, and go from there. Wiped everything away. We've got our dimensions over here. I've taken a tape measure and drawn out here on the dry erase board our dimensions that we're looking at, with a 14-inch height on the back, a 12-inch depth on the bottom, an 8-inch flat top, and then the angular face that the sub is going to fit into. That gives us 2.59 total cubic feet. The subs are going to displace part of that air whenever it goes in there, so that should put us pretty close to the middle of the 2 to 3 range, right where I wanted to be. The only question we need to find out right now is how much depth does that leave us as far as interior space for the sub to actually sit into. Because if you take your sub, if we'll say it's got a 7-inch depth or an 8-inch depth, we should be fine. Anything, that thing's got a big magnet on it. As long as we're no more than an 8-inch depth on that, we should be good. Let's take a look at the paper and see if it shows us what the depth is. Yep, mounting depth 7.3 inches. So we should be good. That'll move us into 7.7 1/3, basically there. That gives us all sorts of room at the back. And again, this is our interior dimensions, not the exterior of the box. So we need to make sure whenever we're figuring our volumes like this, that you're working with the interior of the box. So depending on how you want to build this, will determine, you have to add, say the back plate is bigger, it's going to have to run down on each end because this board is going to butt up against it and then bolt, or you're going to screw in from the ends to hold those 3 pieces together. Then this board, if you're using say 3/4 inch MDF, instead of 14-inch, you're now talking 15.5 inches because you're talking outside diameter at that point, not inside volume of the box itself. But I think that's the numbers we're going to work with. So I went ahead and pulled out one of the subs from the box. This thing is huge. Check out that driver. I think it's massive. 30 pounds to work out just holding it. So, held this up against the drawing that we made. Looks like it should fit in there perfect. Again, that is inside volume, not outside diameters of the box. We'll need to take that into account whenever we look at how we're actually assembling it. We'll get to building next time. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good night. Have a good day. Have a good evening. Have a good morning. When do people watch these videos? Afternoon for me. See you next time.